Hello, good evening, guys. Welcome to my live this evening. I'm Sarah from Only Human Therapy, for those of you who are new to my group. And tonight I'm going to be talking with Tom Warrington, who is a personal trainer and a bit of a fitness guru. So he's going to be joining me shortly, and we're going to be chatting about all things sort of mental health related and exercise related. Hey, Tom. Okay, so he's here, which means I can add him now and get his camera on. Bear with me a second. He may just have to check that he's got the straight away. So yeah, we're going to be talking about the relationship between mental health and
There we go.
exercise. Yay, there we go.
Fantastic. Oh,
hello, Tom.
Hello, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Are you a bit rushed because you just finished a class? I know, haven't
Just
you?
finished it, yep. Just finished a group personal training program, so I've just got back in. I'm in my slippers now, so.
Oh, nice. It's all good. Are you just blocking out the light there behind you?
Is it? Yeah, we've got a bit of sunshine coming through, so before I just close it up. Is that all right? Can you see me okay?
Yeah, that's cool.
Cool.
All good. So you're probably exhausted then, aren't you now?
A little bit. Been working since 5 o'clock this morning, doing videos, doing fitness stuff, doing all sorts of things. Yeah. So it's kind of nice to.
Busy man.
Win.
Tom's a busy man. So, hello everyone, and thanks Tom for joining me.
You're welcome.
For my live this evening. I'm hoping that people will just join kind of as and when, and feel free to to interact with us and ask questions, because that's what we're here for. And Tom's the expert tonight on fitness and anything sort of exercise related. So aim your questions to him and not me. They're to do with that. So I just wanted to sort of start by getting Tom to introduce himself to you guys, so that you know kind of what his background is and what his story is. And I'll just say that we met a few weeks ago now, I think it was, wasn't it, at a networking event, and then we just got chatting about anxiety, I think, and then we just found that we had a lot to talk about and a lot in common. So that's why I decided to have another discussion with him.
Yep. So yeah.
Tom.
Hi guys. So I'm Tom. I'm a personal trainer. I've been a personal trainer for about 8 years now, and I specialise with mainly women. One, because men don't listen, and two, because I find it easier to talk to women when I'm training them, and they tend to kind of take things on board a lot more than training the guys. So I've generally used to be still am. I'm a very happy, smiley person, as you can see.
Yeah.
So I try to kind of relate that to people, but so I had a bit of an issue, like say, an issue about 18 months ago. So usually I'm quite happy, smiley, do my fitness all the time. I used to go to the gym 5-6 times a week, every week for the last 12 years. Didn't miss longer than 2 weeks. And then one day, I started getting a bit less motivated, started getting up later in the day, started losing my motivation going to the gym. I started getting more anxious about things, started having panic attacks, and started to kind of make excuses, but kind of put things off to later dates, to the point where I wasn't doing anything except lying in bed, and I didn't want to go out anymore. So to the point where I wasn't going to the gym months at a time. That's when I was like, okay, something's going on. And I thought to myself, first thing I thought was man up. And then unfortunately, that's what a lot of people are told as well. A lot of guys are told anyway, to man up and kind of get through it. Tried it a few times, setting my goals, get motivated, go to bed, wake up in the morning, nothing, just no motivation. So back in January, I went out for a New Year's Eve party, and I basically had a breakdown out with people. I just burst into tears, and that's when I decided that I should probably speak to somebody. So I ended up speaking to the doctors. They kind of put me on, started on the course, but kind of that whole thing is where it turned everything around for me. And that's when I did a video about my experience, and then a lot of people came forward and was like, oh, I've been through the same thing. So that kind of made me realize that it's a lot more common that people experience this sort of thing but don't talk about it. So I now
Yeah.
kind of focus a lot more on mindset and motivation and mental health with my exercise than I did before. So
I think
that's kind of a
that's,
little bit.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's really important. And it's nice of you to, thank you for sharing that as well in this group because, it's part of, I think when people want some help, like fitness wise, they're going to prefer to go to somebody like you if they know that you've kind of given an honest, um, I don't know what the word is, but you're portraying the real you by sharing that story and not just pretending to be somebody you're not.
Yeah. So yeah, a lot of the things that people said to me was, I wouldn't think that it would happen to you. And that's exactly what everybody says, really. They don't think it would happen to
Yeah.
someone. We all wear masks. I refer to myself when it first happened as Deadpool, kind of hide the real me because it wasn't what I wanted to portray and show to people. But then it was realizing I had to take it off and kind of go, okay,
Yeah.
I've been suffering. So that's kind of where it started. And yeah, so that's kind of where I'm headed with all this fitness stuff now as well. But yeah.
Okay. So what can you just tell everyone else what can you offer for women if that's your your sort of specialism? What do you do for us women?
So a lot. The main goal that women tend to come to me for is toning up and improving self-esteem and confidence. That's the biggest. That's the biggest
Mm,
thing I get when people come to me, or women specifically come to me. So it's more kind of focusing on toning, eating healthier to kind of improve your mindset and motivation, and improving your self-esteem. And that's the point where people. I think that's most important. So a lot of people come to me going, "Oh, I want to lose 10 pounds." Why? Because I want to be back to how I was before I had my child, or before my wedding day, or back when this happened. Unfortunately,
yeah.
you ask them a little bit more about it, and it becomes a bit deeper than just the numbers on the
Mm,
scale. And they get to the point where I'm not feeling like myself anymore. I constantly get up and look in the mirror, and I'm thinking, "Oh, what's going on and stuff." And then it kind of roots
yeah.
even deeper. But people don't tend to talk about that bit because, again, it's quite hard. So I've become
Mm,
a lot more honest with the way I speak to people. So I think I'm hoping that's kind of where a lot of women kind of come to me and speak to me about this stuff as well, and about getting my advice from
yeah.
that because of the way I portray it as well.
Mm, yeah, I think that's good. It's really important. So you're doing it, yeah, you're doing some good work, and I can speak for for you as well. I've only just started, but I've started one of Tom's online programs. So today was workout number two of I don't know how many yet.
Yeah, this is going to be a
But
few.
yeah, I'm already trying to just be more mindful of what I'm eating and everything because that's usually my downfall is food. I just love eating and often love eating the wrong things. So hey
Yeah,
ho.
a lot of people take food into kind of a comfort thing as well, and eat a lot of it, and it makes.
Yeah.
Sometimes people eat when they're bored as well, and that's kind of a big issue. When you lose motivation, you kind of just want to eat food, and it's the most important bit. So you could go to all the
Mm,
exercise classes you wanted to, all the programs if you could do it. But if your eating is not right, then it's not everything else isn't going to be right. Your mindset's not going to be right. Your motivation's not going to be right. Then it's just kind of it falls apart. So it's 80% nutrition, 20% exercise, as I call it.
wow.
So the 80-20 principle.
Yeah. Wow, that's crazy. Right, I'm gonna get back to what we're well, this is
Yeah,
what we're supposed to be talking about, but I'm gonna get back
kind of.
to
Yeah,
the questions that I kind of posed to the group in when I did a poll. I found out that, what most people want to hear about or what they want us to cover. And the thing that came out highest was how can we get motivated to exercise when we're feeling down or low? So can we just have a chat about that first and I'll
yeah,
let
sure.
you answer and then I'll give you maybe an example of what I did when I was feeling low or what I do sometimes.
Sure. So motivation, unfortunately, and motivation and willpower are kind of the same thing. When you lose motivation, you kind of look for something to push it back up again. So you'll look for those things. But the best thing to kind of start with to get your motivation back up is what we call mini habits. So mini habits or like small steps at a time. So a lot of people
Yeah.
will tend to go out and kind of try and change everything in one big go. So they'll go, okay, the diet complete starts tomorrow. The diet starts tomorrow. I'm going to go to the gym. I'm going to go out and work out. And then when it comes to it, you kind of go, oh, maybe I'm not going to do that. oh, there's chocolate still to be eaten. There's still, I've slept past my alarm now, or maybe I'll do 30 minutes more sleep. So that's kind of it. Not only does that make your motivation go down a bit even more, but it becomes a negative feedback. So you keep going through the same cycle where it gets worse and worse. So the way kind of to work through that is to create a small habit or a small step to go forwards first. So if your idea is you want to lose a dress size, or you want to lose a few inches or a few pounds, the first thing you start to do with is just do a couple of minutes of walking or a couple of minutes of exercise in your house, because it needs a lot less motivation than maybe going to the gym or maybe going out for a run. You still have to put the trainers on.
Less excuses that you can make.
Yes.
Which is important.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with it. Let's say you get out of bed and go down the stairs and walk back up the stairs, go down the stairs, walk back up the stairs. That takes a lot less effort than it does to maybe go for a walk, go out running, get your trainers on. Or some people, I've even heard a few women have said to me before, they've gotten their exercise gear on, and they've just sat on the sofa and they've gone, no, and they've just laid there and they've not done it. So it's kind of anything that's easiest to start with. A small habit, a small step is where it builds up, and then you constantly build it up. So it becomes 5 minutes, where it becomes 10 minutes, and then you maybe go, okay, maybe I should go outside a little bit more. And that's when the feeling gets a bit better with sticking with it, and it becomes a habit rather than I'm looking for motivation type thing.
Okay, yeah. So do you have any tips like that you could use with nutrition? So any like small things that you could change, not saying like, cutting out carbs or something really drastic. But what kind of small things could you do with nutrition to help?
So the first thing you could do is, depending on if you like breakfast or not. So breakfast is basically breaking fast. So if you don't eat till lunchtime, that's technically still your breakfast, because that's the first meal you're having when you wake up. So the first thing was just to change one meal. And when I say change one meal, have one thing different. Just one thing different. Start off with if you tend to have some sugary cereal in the morning, go for maybe a change of porridge or maybe some fruit, and that is just the first change. So then you constantly focus on that change, and then you'll start to kind of go, okay, maybe I can do two changes now. So then you'll do a snack, then you'll go a little bit further, and then that will build up kind of motivation, but it will also build up the habit of choosing healthier things. A lot of people do try cut carbs out straight away. I don't know if you've ever tried cutting carbs out. It makes me miserable. It makes a lot of people miserable. If I don't eat chocolate, I eat chocolate, so I like chocolate. If you don't eat chocolate after a while, then I kind of start getting, it's a binge. Basically, it's binge eating waiting to happen if you restrict yourself like that.
Yeah.
So small changes, because you're not going to change it all in one go. So small changes like breakfast changes.
Yeah.
Sorry? Yep.
You reminded me of an experience when I tried to do the 5-2 diet once, but I basically did one day of fasting and then it got to about 7 or 8 and I was just so hungry that I went to the shops and bought a load of chocolate crisps, and that was one day.
Oh, okay. Did you do the rest of the week then, or was it just the case that you started off with fasting?
I can't remember now, it was quite a long time ago. But I was trying to do it because my mum and dad were doing it and they had been doing it for a while. And I just did one day, did really well and had like I had a really filling salad for like my main meal,
Right.
with like fish or something in it. So it wasn't just a bowl of leaves. It should have been satisfying, but but it got to a point where I was just really, really hungry later on.
Yeah, it's called that 5-2 uses something called fasting. So
Hi, Sunny, by the way. Sorry, I'm just saying hello to my friend Sunny.
Fasting is what that basically the 5-2 uses the fasting method, which is what basically you don't eat. Well, you fast for a certain amount of time. Fasting works for some people, but doesn't work for others. So for me, so if you wake up in the morning and you have to eat because you get hungry and you're just going to literally pick at anything in the middle of the day, then it's probably not best for you. If you wake up, if you eat breakfast and you feel sick or you feel ill, then fasting might work for you, because then you don't have to eat for another 6 or 7 hours and you've had the night before as well. So they use the fasting principle a little bit, but it doesn't work for everyone, unfortunately. But yeah, and it leads you to kind of down that route of eating chocolate and crisps.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Which is not a good thing.
No.
Okay. So my next question was what should we be, or what should we not be eating for our mental health? So do you know of any foods that specifically make us feel worse, or any foods that specifically help? Like, I don't know.
This is a bit of an obvious one. It's processed and sugary foods.
Yeah.
Not because necessarily they're always bad, but because they sugary food, any food kind of raises your insulin, but sugary foods especially raises your insulin levels. And if you eat a lot of it and then don't, you'll get what's known as the crash, which is the
Yeah.
feeling low afterwards, and it's not best for focus and everything else that's going in. So if you've got a lot of things going on in your life, then eating a diet full of sugary stuff like chocolates and sweets actually makes it a lot worse, because it makes it a lot worse to focus. You feel tired, you feel
Yeah.
lethargic. It basically it kind of doubles up when you eat a diet like that.
Mm.
The best thing to go for would be whole grain things, so foods that last a bit longer. So porridge,
Yeah.
whole wheat type foods. You're looking at pasta still could be eaten, whole grain pasta, things like that. Things that are going to keep you energetic for longer, because
Mm.
that's what you want to avoid, is the up and low, the kind of the up of the insulin rise, and then the low, the crash of it, and you'll feel like
Yeah.
crap basically. You'll feel terrible for a few hours, then you'll eat more to feel better, and then it just constantly goes up and down.
Mm.
So for ability to kind of make you feel better, it's a lot of fruit, a lot of vegetables, a lot of healthier options do help. Not saying you can't have chocolate, it's fine. Have your sugary stuff occasionally, but if you're basing your diet on a lot of processed pre-packed foods because maybe you don't have time, that can also affect you a lot when it comes to
Yeah.
your focus and your mindset a lot.
I think
So yeah.
caffeine has a big impact on a lot of people as well, because it kind of
Hmm.
becomes part of their diet that they don't necessarily realize how much of it they're having, and then you have the same peaks and troughs as you would with
Yes.
sugar, because you get hyper if you have a coffee, and then you'll have that crash, and then you need another one, and so
And if you're on a lot of it, if you kind of go off it, you'll find you'll get a massive headache for a while as well if you don't have caffeine for a long
yeah,
time. Unfortunately, especially with kids and things like these days as well, they'll be having a lot of caffeine-based drinks to get through the day, and it's
yeah,
not a great start from the young age upwards. But caffeine is definitely a big thing, because you drink it
mm,
thinking you need it for a bit, and then you have to drink it, and then when you come off it, it's up and down all over the place. So yes, caffeine is
yeah.
definitely an avoidance one.
I would recommend to anyone watching who feels that they might be having too much of it, just go cold turkey, because that's what I did. I just completely stopped when I was pregnant, because I was told that it wasn't good to have caffeine when you're pregnant. And
Hmm.
then I did have really bad headaches for about 2 weeks, but then I was fine after that.
How much were you
And,
having then? How much caffeine were you
um,
having?
probably like 3 cups a day of
Okay.
tea, so it wasn't like excessive. I just knew that it was too much to have whilst I was pregnant, and
Hmm.
and now I do drink the same amount of tea and coffee, but I only have decaf, and we just, because we only have that in our house now, we don't notice the difference.
Right. Yeah. It gets to the point where you're used to it
Because
now.
some people taste it and they're like, oh, it's not the same, but it just doesn't bother us anymore.
That's good.
So I would recommend doing that.
That's a good one. If
Yeah.
you don't want to give it up as well, there's also what I recommend also you can try is, if you're going to drink caffeine, you don't want to do it straight away. You can always have a day where you have a low caffeine, or a minimal
Yeah.
caffeine day, and then go back to your regular, because your body does need a rest from it. It's a stimulant after all. It's
Mm.
not. You shouldn't be having it all the time. You shouldn't be having a lot of it
Yeah.
anyway. But having a day off, or having a day where you have minimal, one cup of tea and that's it, kind of helps you get through that cycle. But definitely looking at less caffeine throughout the time, kind of the day, will help a
Yeah.
lot with those
I think your
kind of.
approach your sort of softer approach is probably better than me
Some people
saying
can
go
do cold
cold
turkey.
turkey.
Some people can do cold turkey. Some people, like at the headache bit, you're
Yeah.
like, oh, can't do this. I'm gonna go back on it. But yeah, you can do this too. You can go to a cold turkey. You can go up and down until you don't need it quite
Mm.
anymore. But it's both of them work. Both of them work just as
Yeah.
effective as each other.
Okay. That's good. I wish there was an option of of doing that with food.
Yeah.
Like we were saying, instead of cutting something out completely, I wish you could just like slightly adapt it and it kind of be the same, but never mind.
Yeah. Yeah. You can. I mean, you can pick things still with your diet, but it depends on your what do you call it? Your willpower. So
Yeah.
if you buy a bunch of chocolate bars and have one a day, are you prepared not to eat all of them in one go, or can you have them over? Some people can't. I've spoken to
Yeah.
some women who say. I spoke to one woman, my hairdresser actually. She won't mind me saying this. She once ate 14 Whisper bars in one go because of it.
That's like my partner.
Yeah.
He'll probably hear me talking about this and laugh, but he can't do like just one biscuit. It's got to be the whole pack.
Yeah, it's there. You
Whereas
got to
I
have
have
more.
one or two and put it back.
That's good. That's the best kind of way
Yeah.
to have. I'm unfortunately the other way. If it's there, I'll probably eat it anyway. But depends how I'm
Mm.
feeling. But yeah, that's kind of a good kind of key. Not having nothing in your house, but if you've got problems with it, then maybe avoid buying so much of it, so you don't eat all
Yeah.
of it in one go.
I think what we need to do as well is just have buy more alternatives to that, so that you've always got something in. Because it's when you're really hungry and you're just searching for something in the cupboard that you want the sugary stuff, or you want
Yes.
crisps. For me, it's usually savory. Actually, it's crisps and popcorn I love. But if I could always have something in that's an alternative to that, then that would
Yeah.
help.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you well, that's the thing. As you mentioned, you on my online stuff, you'll see that will start to come up a little bit more as well in the next couple of weeks about building that for a habit. So it's great for that sort of stuff as
Yeah.
well. So you can
Okay.
keep kind of eating that sort of things.
Yeah. Um, and it's just important for me to mention because I don't want to forget, but it's kind of widely known anyway that fish is really, really good for our brain. I think everyone knows that, but it's,
Yes,
particularly proven to really help with depression because of the omega-3. So
omega threes and sixes.
if you
Yeah,
are if you are really low, then try and look at how much fish is in your diet, and if it's not, then have more of it if you can.
fatty acids. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I don't know why I even forgot that. Fatty acids is definitely massively important.
Mm,
You've got nuts, like I said, omega threes, omega sixes, uh, oils and stuff. Depending on what you cook with and things like that, can help a lot because it helps with the brain cells and it
yeah.
helps with improving your mood as well. So yeah, definitely,
Mm,
fish is definitely have a couple of times a week maybe.
yeah.
Is a good start. At least fresh fish is great for that sort of stuff. But yeah,
We try and do Fish Friday in our house. We always have at least one day a week, which is Fish Friday, and then sometimes another day as well, because it's just so easy to cook and really,
yeah,
really quick. So
it's tasty
that's
as
my
well.
my top tip. Yeah. Right, I'm going to move on to the next. So I've written down quite a few questions actually,
Okay.
either questions that I've got for you or that I think came up in the group. One person did say, um, what to do? What should I do when exercising doesn't lift your mood?
Okay. Um, so the idea that the exercise improves you was what's known as endorphins, and the specific one that comes along when you exercise is known as a see if I can remember this correctly, brain derivative neurotrophic factor. That's the it's
Wow, well done.
BDN. I just about remember that BDNF. So they do. So that's kind of the hormone, the endorphins that people look for when they exercise. That's the kind of the feel good factor you get.
Yeah.
And they found they did some research and they found that it was what a lot of contributed to the feeling better was doing it outside as well.
Hmm.
So what I tend to do is I do a daily walk every day now as well because I exercise
Yeah.
at a gym which is four walls and it's music blaring and all you're looking at is a
Mm.
mirror or something else and it gets a bit kind of it doesn't always feel so good. But
Yeah.
exercising outside, they did a brain scan. So they did two brain scans on somebody who just watched TV, somebody who's watched TV and thinking, and somebody who's just gone for a 20-minute walk outside. A person who went for a 20-minute walk outside, their brain had literally lit up with this neurotrophic factor massively
Mm.
compared to the person who was watching TV because
Yeah.
that's kind of that's where the feel good factor comes from. So it depends on kind of what sort of exercise you're doing, depending on how you feel. So a lot of people will think that smashing it as hard as they can will work, but it kind of makes you feel low and you feel a bit
Mm.
about doing it again. So light exercise does massively improve the good feeling you get, but doing it outside,
Yeah.
if preferably in the fresh air, works. And that's kind of it's a case of not hoping and not depending on that feeling you're going to get from it. if that makes sense. So if you're feeling low, it's good to do it, but don't kind of hope that it does, because you'll find that you'll kind of look for a reason why it's not working, and then it kind of
Yeah.
it plays on your mind a little bit. But working at it
I think
just 5-10 minutes outside every
sometimes,
day.
yeah, I think sometimes as well, it might not, you might not get that feeling straight away, and that's
Yeah.
when people think, oh, it's not working, but
Yes.
your body will still be benefiting even if you don't feel that. Then your body and your brain are still, getting those benefits, which I'm sure you know. And so it's just, yeah, like you say, it's a case of kind of just being a bit patient and trying it again, and trying different types. If something's not working for you, then don't force yourself to stick at
Yeah.
it. Just do something else.
I couldn't do running and get the same feeling I get doing weightlifting. It's a slightly
Yeah,
different for me. Running, I have absolutely no happiness doing running. But
yeah,
for me, my kind of the feeling I get comes afterwards. For about half an hour afterwards, I get the feeling of accomplishment, feeling happy, feeling a bit smiley about myself by doing weights.
yeah.
Again, the daily walk, I feel so much happier. I've got ideas coming out of my brain. My brain's on fire, and I feel great.
Mm,
So running necessarily doesn't help, but walking and weightlifting does for me. So it depends on the person as well. So trying
yeah.
something different, yeah, definitely.
I think that's an important thing for mums, any mums watching as well, to remember that, you don't have to have a gym membership or anything like that. You can simply be going for a walk with, if you've got a little one, then with your buggy, that's even better because you're working your arms as well. Just going for
Yep,
a walk, getting,
yep,
getting
exactly.
yourself outside. Yeah.
I think if you've heard that the kind of the mother the I can't even remember the name of it now, but it's you can exercise depending on how old your child is with your child at the same time. So you could do some squats, you can
Yeah.
do kind of carrying around the house, and it not only does it help with the bond as well, it helps with the fact that you're doing something and looking after your child as well. So there's a few things you
Yeah.
can do.
And there's some really great videos on YouTube now, like classes. I did a yoga thing on YouTube with my daughter, and you could easily do that out in your garden or something. But it was really nice because she was just trying to join in on the bits that she kind of wanted to, and then just kind of laughing at me for the rest of it and climbing on top of me. But it was really good fun doing it together. Because that was one of the other questions a lady asked actually. She said, "How can I do it with at home with toddlers?" So she's obviously got more than one, I'm guessing, and it is really hard. But try and get them involved with it so that it's fun for them as well.
Making it into a game helps.
Yeah,
You kind of without telling them they're doing something, getting them to do something with you as a game kind of
mm,
version is a great way of getting not only helping them kind of do something as well, but you can kind of focus a bit more on exercising with that, but also making it fun for the kids as well. So there's something you
yeah.
could add into it. So yeah.
Something I actually tried today to make sure I fitted in your workout today. The only time I had was whilst I took Aria to the park. So she was playing on the roundabout and on the swings. I was like pushing her occasionally whilst I was doing the workout, but watching her at the park. So, um, some people might not feel okay with doing that, which is fair enough. But it was really quiet where I was, so I didn't really mind if anyone saw me
Yeah,
doing that
yeah,
at the park. But it was a good way to do both because I was with her and she was playing whilst I did it.
exactly. Yeah. So there's something you
Mm.
can always do together. So yeah, there's something you can try.
Yeah. So, oh, I've asked that question already. What are what are some of the kind of common bad habits that you see in women that we may not realize we're doing?
Bad habits that you okay. Let's think.
Sorry to put you on the spot, but I just thought this might be quite a good uh, question.
In terms of when you go about maybe kind of getting healthier or exercise, because there are a lot of diets out there that people tend to go for, and one big thing is eating maybe okay, you need to eat less calories to lose weight, to lose fat.
Mm,
So a lot of people just tend to not eat lots, and it can have a negative effect, and not realizing because well,
mm,
someone down the road did that, then I can try it, and then it becomes to the point where you don't realize that you're kind of damaging yourself a little bit when you don't eat as
yeah.
much. Uh, and what was the question again? Was the habit?
It's kind of, yeah, that's a
Yeah.
good example
So
of one. I was
that's
just
yeah.
I was just saying, do you know of any like, common bad habits that we women may do that we don't necessarily realize we're doing? So things I was thinking maybe I don't know. There's probably things that we do like when we're sitting down doing something when we could be standing up doing it, for
Yeah.
example, or just something really small like that.
So generally, if you're moving around more anywhere, you kind of build up fun. But sitting down, this is a thing that my sister did when she used to sit down and watch TV. She'd sit at an angle. So the problem with sitting at an angle is it's not good for your spine, and
Yeah,
unfortunately, over the years of doing that, it kind of changes your posture a bit. So kind of realizing
it's
that you're
a bit
sitting there,
pain.
exactly, pulling your shoulders back and your chest forwards, it kind of brings,
Mm,
not only helps with your circulation and everything else, but it also helps keep, it actually does help with motivation as well, and willpower. So you'll be sitting there,
yeah.
and then occasionally, if you think, okay, right, breathe in. And there's another thing that a lot of people do is because of that, you don't tend to breathe correctly. So if you sit back
Mm,
and you can just kind of focus on breathing in really deep with your stomach and breathing back out again, and that not only does it help build your kind of abdominal muscles, but also it reinforces a habit of doing something constantly. That's where the willpower can be built up. So willpower is a muscle. So the more
yeah.
things you kind of slouch, the more times you do that, the less likely you are to be better at sticking to something. So sitting back, pulling back, occasionally remembering when maybe you're doing some work on the computer. Again, sit back, pull your shoulders back, and step and getting up every few minutes. Say
Mm,
10, 15 minutes, stretch, maybe do a bit of marching or walk around the house, come back down, sit back down.
yeah.
Because a lot of, if you work at home as well, you'll tend to be on the computer, or you'll have your child in the room and be on your computer and kind of sitting around, and you'll forget, and then you'll have that hunch forwards thing. And that happens a
Mm,
lot with a lot of women who work with computers or sit and write.
yeah.
So that whole posture thing is very important. That's definitely a big habit that happens a
I
lot.
think I used to, that's really useful because I used to be very aware of it when I was younger because I was a dancer and a gymnast, so I had to be very aware of it.
Yeah,
But you forget as you get older, and then it's like, yeah, you have to retrain yourself, and it's really hard to get back into that mindset. And my mum is brilliant because she's like 50 something and she's super fit and she's still walks like a ballerina and is a Pilates instructor and just so fit, and everyone always looks at her and says, oh wow, she's, look at her posture, she's really fit, and she's got such a strong core because of holding herself up like that. And I can
yeah,
feel myself already slipping into that kind of forward neck syndrome, I call it, which is becoming a thing because of phones. People are
yeah,
getting forward neck syndrome where
exactly.
the shoulders are like that and the neck sticks out.
Yeah. And then the horrible the bump at the back, which is kyphosis, where your spine kind of curves over the top,
Yeah.
so you sit and come out. But another thing with also, it's kind of similar to what's known as a power pose. I don't know
Mm.
yeah. So kind of that whole, you stand like you stand for a moment with your arm, maybe hands on your hips and your chest
Yeah.
pushed out, and you just stand randomly. Don't do it in public because people look at you weirdly. But you stand there, and it automatically, not only does it improve your self confidence and your self esteem, but again, it helps you remember about your posture. So kind of sitting
Yeah.
there, breathing in and remembering, it makes you feel a bit better about yourself as well. So there's a few things. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
definitely
I
one.
spoke I spoke to a lady last week on one of my lives. She was a life coach and she called it like her superwoman pose that you should do in the mirror and practice it so that you know you're doing it right. And then, but I think it's really important as well to hold up your head because that's what people are not doing now. We talked about the spine and having your shoulders back, but also even just lifting your head slightly higher than normal makes you feel better. It makes you feel
Yeah,
happier because
hmm
you're not looking at the floor, and it just gives you that bit more confidence.
exactly. It's kind of like here I
Mm.
am type thing. Here I am,
Yeah,
and that it automatically just makes you feel better.
it's
Yeah,
amazing how much it affects your mood that quickly.
it is.
So this,
Exercise is massively beneficial for that sort of stuff. So
yeah,
yeah,
I think we touched on it when we spoke the other day about how it's just incredible how powerful the connection is between the mind and body, and how you can, how one affects the other.
yeah,
We need to not underestimate that at all.
exactly. Another thing with exercise as well is you can become more aware. So this kind of works into the
Mm.
mindset type thing, is meditation and self-awareness. I don't know if you kind of talk about that stuff yourself, but being
Yeah.
self-aware of your body is
Mm.
is where exercise comes into it as well. So when people exercise, maybe tell you to do a squat, people will just kind of bend the knees down and come back up again. Well, the more you
Mm.
learn how to do it correctly, the more you engage your legs, the more you engage your glutes, which is the back of your buttocks, basically. The more you kind
Yeah.
of get that posture up and bring it back down again. And it's just becoming self-aware of your body a bit more. And a
Mm.
little trick I do when I'm feeling kind of stressed as well, which I'll just add this in, is that I do a 2-minute breathing exercise. So I
Mm.
become aware of everything in my body around for 2 minutes, and
Yeah.
not only does it calm my thinking down, but it also slows my panic attacks. For me, I haven't had a panic attack with my anxiety now for about 2 months, so it's
Yeah, that's
pretty
good.
good. So it's just a case of slowing down, breathe, and just concentrate on your chest coming up and down. It's just becoming self-aware
Mm.
of you and your surroundings.
Yeah, I think
Yep.
that's a really good point because when you are exercising, I've never thought of it as a form of mindfulness, but actually it is because you are being mindful of what your body's doing.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm always telling my followers to do, to do as much mindfulness as possible and breathing. When I see any client or do a workshop, the first thing I teach them is something called 7-11 breathing, and then that's kind of usually the foundation of everything else. So they go away
Yeah.
and practice this breathing technique, which is diaphragmatic breathing, and it's amazing. I've used it when somebody's having a panic attack and managed to calm them down in about a minute just by doing that. So I know it works, and it's. Oh, hi Jade. Hope you're okay.
I do.
Yeah, I can't rate that more. It's so well done for reminding me of that. Let me just see if I've got another question.
Oh,
Oh
you're
yeah,
crack.
these are kind of just a couple of questions that I came up with. I don't know if other people will be able to relate to them, but I hope so. I said, does exercise have to be hard for it to work?
No, no is the simple
Yay!
is the easy answer. You can challenge yourself, but it doesn't have this idea that you have to feel pain, that pain, no gain, and the whole,
Mm,
like you're breathing heavy, you're sweating buckets, and you're feeling like you want to be sick. It doesn't have to be that way at all. No, it's just a case of stimulating the body to the point
yeah,
where it does. Not only does it burn calories, but you do something. I mean, you can get results by just doing 15 minutes. As long as you're doing a bit of interval up and down, you can get a lot results doing that. You don't have to smash out an hour of intense
yeah.
exercise. So yeah, that's as simple as no. Yeah. Doesn't
That's
have
that's comforting to know. My friend Jade says yay as well.
to. Yeah, exactly. So
But I think that is must be quite a common misconception then because we're kind of yeah, we're programmed to think that way, aren't we? That it has to be hard for it to be doing something good.
yeah. I mean, a common thing I get again with the women who come to me is that I'll ask them what they're doing, and they'll say, "Well, I go to a spinning class on a Monday. I do legs bump on a Tuesday. Then I go to the gym for 2 hours and do a treadmill. Then on Wednesday I do this, and then Thursday I'm doing this, and Friday I'm doing this, and I'm not losing any weight." I'm like, and I'm
Wow.
beasting myself every single day, and that's kind of where that's too much of that is actually you're not getting the results from it because you're doing too much of it. So it's kind of getting the
Mm.
balance right.
And like you said, I suppose if that's only 20%
Exactly.
exercise, the
Yeah.
rest of it is what are they eating because they're exhausted from the classes, so they probably
Yeah.
need loads of carbs.
Yep, exactly. And yeah,
Yeah.
it's funny. Weirdly, the more exercise you do, the more calories you can eat, but you will still lose weight. If that makes sense, it's a bit complicated. But
Yeah.
yeah, so back when I gained a lot of weight myself when I was going through some things as well, and I was exercising 5 hours a week. I was lifting heavy weights, doing cardio, but because I
Mm.
was eating so much, I didn't see
Yeah.
anything. Didn't matter how hard it worked out. And I knew that was the problem, but unfortunately it just comes down to the eating. So that's
Yeah.
kind of the master bit of it.
Do you know if there's any sort of difference with your ability to lose weight after you've had children to before you've had children, or I don't suppose you know, because I feel like now it's really hard to lose weight, whereas before, if I wanted to lose weight, I could do it quite quickly.
Hmm. So when we talk about weight, we talk about anything in the body. So that could be muscle, it could be bone, it could be water, it could be glycogen. Glycogen's the
Yeah.
name, basically what your body stores in glycogen. When you've had a child, a lot of it, or hormonal things change. You get relaxing, changes your ligaments, it changes your kind of different things in your body, which then can affect also the level of weight. And I recently wrote an email about this actually. It was about a lady who she'd had a child, but she gained 6 kilos, but
Mm.
dropped 2 or 3 dress sizes and looked toned afterwards. Because if she'd been focused on the weight, it would have been completely different. But yeah,
Yeah.
it, it becomes a case of not looking at weight so much and maybe looking at a measurement type thing or how you feel,
Mm.
rather than a number on the scale, because you become obsessed with that number, unfortunately.
Yeah.
It doesn't lead to good things, because not only that, you're thinking, well, why is it not going down anymore? But yeah, so it's
Mm.
not necessarily makes it harder, but it can affect how your weight goes up and down, because it fluctuates every day. If you drink a
Yeah.
load of water, if you ate a curry tonight and weighed yourself tomorrow, you'd be 3 pounds heavier, but you drop that 3 pounds the next day, and that can be
Mm.
really frustrating if you're trying to lose weight. It keeps going up and down,
Yeah.
up and down.
How do you know what I had for dinner tonight?
I
I just had a curry.
should also mention that
Damn
your
it.
screen is frozen as well, so I'm currently talking to a frozen picture of you, but
Oh,
clearly you can still hear me
well,
and see me, so
hopefully
that's fine.
everyone can still hear us okay. I can see yours.
Yeah,
You're
so
not
I
frozen.
can still hear you and stuff, but I just can't see you
Okay.
anymore. But it doesn't
Oh,
matter.
good.
But yeah,
Right, my next question for you, if
hmm,
you're okay for time,
yeah,
is can we have naughty treats or drink alcohol in moderation?
okay. The
I'm
answer is
talking about like if you're trying to, if you're trying to tone up or you're trying to lose weight, can you still do those things in moderation?
yes. Yes, you can.
Okay.
So that's basically, again, the short answer. You can. The reason being,
Yeah.
so uh, this is kind of, I've got to be careful how I say this now, so not to give anyone the wrong kind of misconception about it.
Mm.
Alcohol actually doesn't make you fat. So drinking the alcohol doesn't make you fat. It's what you eat around drinking the alcohol that makes you fat.
Yeah.
So let's say you have
Because it turns it into sugar, doesn't it?
basically it dubs your
Mm.
fat burning ability in your body for 24 hours when you drink alcohol. So if you drink a lot of alcohol, your body's ability then to kind of burn fat gets kind of desensitized a bit. So then
Mm.
if you've eaten all your, say you've eaten your daily calories for the day, and then you go and have a few drinks, and you start getting drunk, and then you maybe eat some more food, that food you've eaten after having the alcohol and hitting your calorie limit, that's what makes you fatter quicker. So yes, you
Yeah.
can still have alcohol and you can still drink it on the weekends and still drink it occasionally. It's just kind of putting it in. Again, moderation is the key to that. It's just,
Mm.
unfortunately, in today's modern society, moderation and portion size with, if I don't know if you've seen like the food and drinks and stuff, it's changed a lot in the last 15 years.
Yeah.
So if you look at a ready meal or chocolate or something, it's double the size it was 10, 15 years ago, which is
Mm.
why they're bringing a lot of chocolate bars that are smaller now, because a lot of people eat them. They tend to have a lot more calories, thus you gain weight quicker. So they've reduced the size of them now. But again, yeah, so you can still have that sort of thing, sort of foods,
Yeah.
and still lose weight and still get results.
So what if like there was going to be a treat
Hmm.
that because obviously a treat is different for everyone, but if there was going to be one thing like the best of a bad bunch, what does that make any sense? If you were going to have something naughty, so like chocolate or
Hmm.
a drink, um, a packet of crisps, what would be like the best out of the worst? If that
Okay,
makes
I know what you mean. So alcohol wise, spirits are less calorific. Dry white wine is less calorific. Obviously, it's not as nice as sweet red wine and stuff like that. But though, so not having the beer or not having
sense.
something that's very sweet like the alcohol pops and things like that, going for more the dry wine or the spirit type thing is better for the amount of calories you get, but it also still has a
Yeah.
similar effect. Chocolate, I mean, dark chocolate depends if you like it or not. I like dark chocolate, so I can eat it.
Mm.
But dark chocolate has a little bit more benefits. You've got more cocoa in there as well, which has
Yeah.
a little bit of benefit. It's got a bit of antioxidants in it, so that would be a good way for the chocolate. And you can get, again, you can choose between crisps and things and stuff like that. All have different levels. So something with lower fat tends to have higher carb level, higher sugar level. So it depends how you feel with
Okay.
about that. But something that, I mean, you could technically have any of that, but I would recommend always going for the dark chocolate, the less calorific drinks, and
Yeah.
kind of not the kind of the baked crisps type stuff, rather than the the regular versions. The baked things are a
Yeah.
lot better. They have a lot less fat, a lot less sugar in them. So that
Yeah.
would be kind of the top three you would have.
Okay. I am trying to avoid crisp, but they're probably my weakness, I think. And I went through a phase of making my own popcorn because I knew that bought popcorn was really bad. It's either really sugary or really fatty, but it's just not the same.
Yeah, it never tastes the same, does it? It's all that butter and stuff and oil that makes it
Yeah.
taste very nice. I didn't. In fact, weirdly enough, being a PT, I didn't. I used to love having popcorn at the cinema
Mm.
until one day I decided, I'm going to track this. I looked at it and it was 2,000 calories nearly for a whole for a whole massive box of popcorn. So I was like,
Wow.
oh dear. Now I can see why it tastes so nice.
Yeah, so I
Um,
couldn't eat anything for like a day and a bit. I couldn't do that. Yeah, that's crazy.
mm, it's just a lot of people don't realize how much is in food, unfortunately. Which is where
Mm.
like where you'll get that, oh, I don't eat a lot, or maybe you think you don't eat a lot, but then you look at it and you go, oh, wait a second, that's quite a lot, without
Yeah.
realizing, because you've done it so often that you're thinking, oh, it doesn't seem that lot there. But
Mm.
yeah.
That's interesting because you've just made me think of uh, eating with my partner because I think since we've become a family of three and we're trying to eat all together, I I tend to eat bigger portions because I'll just put out the same as what I would do for him when actually I don't need to eat that much. And so my portion sizes have gradually got bigger because I'm eating the same as him.
Yeah, that's a very common thing, trust me. Yeah,
Yeah,
I've heard that. It does happen, unfortunately.
well, that
It does
won't
happen a
help.
lot.
Mm.
I think
I need to try and change that because it's not difficult to just put less food on my plate.
I spoke to someone I'd seen recently, and our friend I used to work with. Her and her partner, when they make food together, she she told me the same thing. Actually, she has been eating a lot more because of him. He will tend to
Yeah.
say, "Okay, let's have the same amount," and they'll put the same amount, but he eats a lot more than she does. She's only very
Mm.
small. He's like 6'2", so he eats a lot
Yeah.
more food. So she ends up eating the same amount as him, and obviously that has a big effect. But it's kind of realizing that, and then going to kind of moving towards not having as much, maybe, is that's for the start, is basically.
Okay. Right, I've just got two more questions for
Okay.
you, and then we'll see if anyone else has got some questions. So I wanted to ask if, like, if you get a craving for a bad food,
Mm-hmm.
basically, then have you got any top tips to try and like steer that in a different way, or is there any idea of how you could not give in, basically, if you get
So
a craving?
yeah, so there's a couple of things here. The reason, so I'll kind of start with the board one. No, so I'll make it short. The When you have a craving for something, it's what we know as the dopamine level shoots up in your brain.
Mm.
And unfortunately, even if you're on a diet or stuff and you don't want to have it, your brain doesn't care. It releases this dopamine and goes, "You must have this now," and that's when you kind of start to find yourself going for the cravings. So there's a couple of things you can do. The first one is you can wait 10 minutes before making a decision. So if you kind of are craving so much chocolate, or you're craving crisps, or you're craving a burger or something,
Yeah,
and you shouldn't be having it, wait 10 minutes before you make the actual decision. This kind of gives your body a time for the dopamine level to come back down again. So you kind of then start looking and go, okay, mate, I don't actually need it, and then you'll walk
yeah.
away. That's kind of one tip.
Okay.
Another tip, I recently found this out. Well, not recently found out, but it's a very interesting way of doing it. If that whole idea that the first bite is the most tastiest bit, after that it doesn't taste as good. So the
Mm.
first, nothing tastes as good as the first bite does. So you can actually have, if you've got any sort of like any drinks or something, you can actually put it into your mouth and drink it and sip it. If you sip that, you'll give your body a kind of a false idea that it's getting insulin, and it will feel a lot better. So
Mm.
you raise your insulin levels because you've got receptors in your tongue and your mouth that will tell your brain that you're about to have something sweet,
Right.
and you don't even have to eat it or drink it. It's just a case of having it in your mouth for a little bit longer, and then your body will go, oh, instantly, going to get this stuff that I've been waiting for. Perfect,
Mm.
I'm feeling happier now without having to eat the calories.
Okay.
So that's a little tip that
Yeah.
I've actually helped people with and used before. So that's a good one.
That's one I didn't know. So
Yeah,
I've heard about the 10 minutes
yeah.
thing, but only in terms of addictions. So it's interesting that you've said that because I learned about it in my as part of my psychotherapy diploma for
Okay.
treating addictions,
Yeah.
and the same thing happens if somebody has a craving for a cigarette. That craving can actually only last for 10 minutes. Your
Hmm.
brain kind of can't make it last for longer than that. So if somebody knows that in 10 minutes that craving is going to go away, then it's a lot easier to deal with
Yeah.
than just thinking, usually you don't know that. So you give in after a couple of minutes.
Hmm. It's
So
that idea
it's
again. It's
useful
that,
knowing that.
yeah. It's that mini habit thing again. You just think, okay, just go get through 10 minutes, just 10 minutes, just 10 minutes. I don't eat anything. Just don't eat it for 10 minutes. See how you feel, and more than likely you will feel a lot less because again the dopamine goes down, and
Yeah.
it's why when you walk around the streets you get the pumping the smell of the food you smell, and that's what makes you go,
Mm.
oh, I think I want the Chinese now, and you'll go in there and you'll
Yeah.
order it, and then you get home, you eat it, and you go, oh, I wish I didn't do that now. Whereas if you wait 10 minutes, again, it goes down, and then you'll feel like you can make a decision without having to have that kind of
Mm.
that level of, oh, I must eat it now.
Yeah. Oh, this is very interesting. I wish my partner was watching this now. I might have to get him to watch it back because he's always like, it's got to be now.
Yeah,
And if it isn't, then he'll be starving and start getting really
grump.
angry and
Yeah, hangry as we call it.
yeah, definitely. Um, okay, so the last question was, I don't know if this is actually makes sense how I've written it. But basically, what I'm trying to say is what constitutes exercise. So, exercise is obviously different for everyone, but does because what constitutes exercise for one person might not for another person. If they're used to doing a lot of active things, then
Hmm.
they might think that they're only exercising if they're going for a run, for example. Does that make any sense?
Yes, it does. Yeah, it does. Exercise is anything of increasing your heart rate and improving your blood flow to any muscles. Basically, that's the start of where exercise happens. Um, so
Okay.
that I do when I tell people about mini habits. The only problem with mini habits, the only problem with small steps, is that people go, oh, "That doesn't really feel like I'm doing anything though." Like you go walk up the stairs for 3 minutes. Does not feel like exercise. Well, it does, but after 3 minutes, but it doesn't feel like you're
Mm,
doing anything. So you go, well, this isn't. I know someone who works out 5 times a week. This isn't exercise, and then or they'll think, oh, this is nothing, but it actually is, and it's what we're known as adaptation. So
mm,
what constitutes exercise is whatever your level is. So you'll start at a level, and the more you do, the more that increases. So anything
okay.
between a moderate intensity that improves and increases your heart rate and then gets you moving and gets you breathing heavier is classed as
Mm,
exercise, basically. But
okay.
yes, so you can
So
kind
for
of,
somebody that could be cleaning if it makes
yeah,
them out of breath, for example,
yeah.
if it gets their heart going.
Yeah, gardening is a really good one. I mean, you're looking at 9-10 calories. You're burning quite a 9-10 calories. You're burning quite a lot of calories in. So if you did an hour of gardening, you burn a lot of calories doing that.
Mm,
Swimming. Excuse me. Cleaning and gardening burns a lot of calories if you do it properly.
mm,
So that is a big kind of factor. So doing small things like that does class as exercise.
yeah.
The more walking you do, so if you did walking every day for 20 minutes, you bring it to an hour, you're going to get to the point where you're not getting the same adaptations and the same benefits as you were at the beginning.
Mm,
So that's when you kind of can push yourself. But that's the point where you'll know you can push yourself. You go, okay, well, this isn't really doing anything for me anymore. I can feel it's not, my heart rate doesn't increase as much as it used to.
yeah.
I'm not getting that feeling anymore. So you can kind of improve it. But that's a natural where you'll start to do anyway. as the habit builds up.
Yeah.
Key is habits, always habits.
I think that's the same with mental health as well.
Mm.
Once you get into these positive patterns and positive ways of thinking, then that's the key to staying well and being a bit more balanced.
Yeah. So a bit of a side note on that is
Mm.
when people think, oh, I haven't done much today, I haven't done what I wanted to do. Maybe you wake up in the morning and go, well, I wanted to start my new exercise program today. I've only done a little bit, but I feel bad. What I do, linked to my confidence and my protection of my mindset, is every day I'll try and do 3 daily wins. Now, this can be in anything you want it to be. It can be in fitness, it can be in life, in general life, your relationship, it could be your business, it could be
Yeah.
your job. Write 3 things that you've done today. So then you look back at it and go, okay, well, technically, I walked up the stairs for 5 minutes. That's a win. I've done something that's, for me, that's a win. It might not be for someone else, but for me it is, or for this, or this, or this. So for me, getting up early and then doing this, that's a win. It protects your mindset and it protects your motivation. So that's a really good, I call it like, so daily wins. You write 3 things, keep a journal, write 3 things every night or every morning. And not only does it set you up for the day or, helps you calm down at the night, but it kind of keeps you on track.
That's a really good idea. I might suggest that to some clients.
It's good for
I think
keeping
I
you
find
focused.
that hard to begin with. I'm just, as you've
Yes.
been talking, I've been trying to think of mine.
Yeah.
Definitely
It
one
could be anything.
was doing your workout today.
Yeah, that's definitely
Doing
one.
those
So
doing those horrible, what they called, bastard things.
bastard step type thing. Yeah,
Ah,
you got, yeah.
those horrible bastard things.
Yeah.
I've never had to do them before.
Yeah, I've got some complicated exercises in there. Did you
But that
did you
was
do
my
anything for the
win.
diet as well? Did you do anything for diet today?
Um, I don't think I have, no.
It could be anything. It could be like literally going, oh, maybe I need to do this, and then kind of doing something small. It could be literally, it could be any small. It's daily win, anything,
I mean,
and that's
I've done some invoices today, which I needed to do, so that was a bit of a
cool.
win.
There you go.
Yeah.
Produce
I'm trying
content, do anything.
try and think of the third. I don't know yet. Maybe I've not had time.
Just make you think, but the more you think of it, more you'll create patterns, and the better you'll feel about yourself as well. So
Yeah.
it does. It's a very good. I found it very useful anyway. So it was
So
something I could.
could you think of yours now if I said what
Yeah.
were your daily wins for today?
Yeah. Do you want to tell you?
Yeah,
Okay.
let's hear it.
Okay. So I woke up at 5 this morning. So I've got back from holiday. So waking up at 5 to start my work. That's a daily win. So I didn't stay in bed. That's one of my first daily wins. Second one is I created my my new blog content and my daily emails set up and sent for the next 2 days. And the third one is I have also just built some more content for the online stuff. So I've gone from doing that's for me is the win for today. So not doing stuff and then compared to that, that's a win for me.
Yeah,
Doesn't matter how small it is, it could be anything.
I like it, and I hope that everyone has a go at that and takes it on board. Because what we've had is a bit of a life coaching session from you as well as it's an exercise session.
I think it's, like I said, it's mindset, motivation, and mental health is all connected to body and mind, and everything you have is effective for all of it. It's a circle type thing, so it's everything.
Yeah.
Protect yourself first, and that's through mental health, and your mind and your body is the most important thing to you, and so you need to look after it. And any way you kind of do that is great.
Cool. Well, let's see if we've got any questions. It doesn't, mine keeps going on and off, showing people here and then they disappear. Usually I can't see until after I've done the video. It suddenly say how many people have come up. But if anyone's on live now and you've got any questions about anything that we said, or if there's anything we've not said that you want us to cover, then please just comment. What we can do whilst we're waiting is, Tom, if you could just kind of talk about briefly what you've got on offer at the moment. So like I know you've got your online program. I'm doing the trial at the moment, but you've got loads of other stuff, haven't you, that's kind of available if anyone's interested.
So like I said, I write a lot of content and things. So what I'm doing is I'm giving away a few things. Actually, they're free. So first thing is I do my why ab exercises. Won't give you a flat belly and what to do instead. So it's a little article I wrote a while back, and it tells you, why doing the exercises it doesn't give you that toned stomach and what you should be doing. My Better Body program, which is kind of what you're doing, the online stuff you're doing, it's all that formula and all that way, and it's in a little ebook, so that will be given as well. And including that also is I do my daily emails. Now, they're not for everyone, because again, they are daily. I send them every single day, but it'll be stories, tips, tricks, and sometimes it'll be offers I've got on as well. But it's like having a little PT in your inbox every morning. So even if you don't read the whole email, even if you look at my name and go, okay, there's Tom, maybe I should do what I should do today. Maybe I should kind of take action. Maybe I should do something. So it's good to have something to kind of push you along. So that, what I'll do is I'll put the link up and people can get that free. So you just literally put your name and your email address in, and I'll send that straight to your inbox. So that's, yeah.
Cool.
So my online stuff is, sorry, say what you're saying?
It just came up saying Tom is watching.
Did it?
Yeah, that's funny. So I may have missed stuff. If things are only just coming up now, then there may be some questions that I've missed. But I think I tagged you in the description of the video, which means that we'll both hopefully get notified if there's any questions after this has been posted. We'll still get notified.
Okay.
And then if there's anything, if anyone wants to connect with you and hasn't managed to do, I'll just send them your way to ask you anything that I can't help with. So if there's no questions, then we will we'll leave it there. Unless you've got any questions for me, Tom.
No,
anything mental health related.
Actually, I'd love to know your kind of, I think we talked about this a little bit before I left, but like your process of kind of getting calmed down from an anxiety attack, basically. Like what would your kind of idea method be, kind of doing that?
Well, it depends. If you've got somebody like, if someone's in front of you, well, I'm saying this in the wrong way because you would be the person with the panic attack. So I'll start again. So basically, the first thing I do is the 7-11 breathing that I mentioned. So it's an old sort of yoga technique where you do diaphragmatic breathing, and you breathe in for a count of 7, but your own count of 7. So it doesn't have to be 7 seconds. It could be, because that's quite hard for a lot of people. They might only be able to breathe in for 3 or 5, but that's fine as long as your out breath is longer. Right. So the idea is that when you're breathing in, you'll notice your muscles kind of tense up, and when you breathe in, quite often your shoulders go up.
Yeah.
But when you breathe out, you relax. So if the out breath is longer than your in breath, then you're stimulating something called the parasympathetic nervous system. So that is what you want to stimulate, because that's the opposite of the fight or flight response.
Yes.
Which is what's happening when you're anxious or you're in a panic attack. Your body thinks that you're about to prepare for battle. So that's why everything, you start sweating, your heart rate goes up. You literally, your body thinks that is what's going to happen. So you need to trick your body back into, the right kind of mode. So that's one way that works really, really quickly. So 7-11 is just, they named it that after a shop called 7-Eleven. Thought it was easy to remember. But if you can do 5-8, then that's just as beneficial, as long as the out breath is longer. And then another really good idea, which sounds very counterintuitive when someone's having a panic attack, is to run up and down the stairs.
Okay, so, that's what I haven't heard before. I like that.
Because your heart rate is basically it's going on overload. What you need to do is trick your body into thinking that you're doing exercise, and then it will try and bring it down. So if you get somebody to like run on the spot or run up and down stairs whilst having a panic attack, it will actually start to bring it down.
Okay.
So straight after that, their heart rate will begin to come down again, because they realise that actually they're not dying, which is what it feels like. And so that's another one that the Human Givens sort of people taught me, which I found really interesting, because they said that they'd actually done it with people when they come into a session and had a panic attack. They've been like, right, stand up, we're going to run on the spot now, we're going to jog on the spot. and it really works.
That's awesome.
So
Right.
that would be my second one.
I'm making notes, by the way. I'm not
No,
typing.
that's absolutely fine. I'm just trying to think if there's any other ones for specifically for anxiety, but the breathing just works so quickly, but it's something that, like you said, with willpower, it's like a muscle. So you have to practice it really regularly to get good at it. And if you just do the odd, minute here and there of it, it's probably not going to be that beneficial. Whereas if you practice it every day, then you're going to get good at it and it works a lot quicker that way. So I say to people to try and do it when you're doing something that you have to do every day. So like when you're brushing your teeth, you could be doing it then. If they say they've got no, people don't have time to sit down and do 5-10 minutes of breathing every day, but they do clean their teeth every day. The only time I would say don't do it is when you're driving, because it can make you quite dizzy sometimes. It makes you lightheaded if you do it properly.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I can imagine. Okay, that's good.
And it makes you really kind of, I know the first few times I did it, I kind of went all like tingly and just felt a bit faint.
Okay. I like that. I'll give those a go as well then.
Definitely. And if you have any clients that kind of talk about any anxiety or being stressed, then you could tell them about 7-11 breathing.
Might
And
try
I
that
think
next.
there's a website, I can't remember what it's called now, but I will send it afterwards, where they've got a really good sort of PDF document which explains how to do that breathing.
Okay, yeah, that would be great. Actually, I might have a look at that. We do a little bit of meditation occasionally after my group training stuff that I've just done. We do occasional meditation type stuff afterwards.
Okay.
I work with a lot of teachers as well, so they tend to be a little bit stressed at this time of the year with the exams they've got to with the kids and stuff. So we tend to do a little bit of meditation and kind of self-awareness thing afterwards, and it helps a lot. So I might look at doing something well with that. That's good.
Definitely.
I like that.
I tend to use it I always use it at the beginning of going into a relaxation, and then we'll go into a guided relaxation from that.
Okay.
Cool. Well, I think we better finish up because we've been quite a while now. But thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming on.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
I hope that we do get some questions even afterwards, and people will watch it after and kind of interact. Shakira, thumbs up. Hello. I hope you found it interesting. And yeah, guys, just post questions whenever you feel like it, and I'll get these links from you, Tom. Either you send them to me or you can post them in the page. And then I would recommend I'd recommend his services to anyone who's local, or you can do the online program like I'm doing, because I just don't think I've got time to do actual sessions, although I'd like to.
We can always talk about that.
Phase 2. Yeah, because I've got a goal of next year getting married, and I still want to get back to my pre-pregnancy weight, which is we talked about it a little bit, but it's just
I know
it's kind of like so much focus on the numbers of the weight, but actually what I'm saying is I just want to lose weight.
Yeah, it's how you want to feel as well, how you want to feel before you're pregnancy. That's what you want to get to. It's just it just kind of, you think of the numbers. But yeah, that's always a great goal. But the online stuff, I'm taking new stuff on for the online people next month when this trial stuff ends. So I can put a link up. That will be in my kind of free stuff anyway. But awesome.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you for listening, guys, and thanks for watching. Hope we found it.